You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Al Mega, host of Comic Crusaders Podcast. Welcome to a brand new episode. And today we have an amazing guest. We spoke to his partners not too long ago in our all Spanish podcast, all right, about that amazing book. So we spoke to the artist. Today we talked to the writer, the brains behind this beautiful project. He is a comedian, he's a filmmaker, an entrepreneur, the one and only David Towner. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well, brother. I hope you're all right, man. And you know, finally the gods have let us play today, because last time you broke the internet, and I think they did that purposely. Last time,
I think 5 minutes into it. So luckily we didn't get too far, because otherwise we had to redo the whole thing, man. But it's meant to be, man. Today's Indigenous People Day, so it's a good time to get started.
It was. I think that was a sign from the gods themselves to do it today, because today is going to be very important that we talk about this amazing concept here with the Aztec Warrior Gods. I mean, it's more than a concept, because these are real gods. You've done your homework on these bad boys.
Absolutely. 12 years of research went into
12 years, folks. You hear this? So, you know, let the folks know, Dave, like, where you hail from. Where were you born and raised?
Oh, man. I'm a hybrid from all over the world, man. Mostly grew up in Alaska, and then through the Midwest, and then Puerto Rico, and then now I find myself in South Florida.
In Puerto Rico, yeah. What part of Puerto Rico you at?
Macau.
Epa, how did you like it over there when you were there?
Oh, beautiful, man, beautiful.
Nice. What was your favorite food?
Hurricane Maria, man. We
word.
That perfect timing for us, man.
Crazy. What was your favorite food?
Oh man, mofongo. I love it all, man. Living in South Florida, I still have access to all that great stuff. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah, I'm in Orlando myself, in Central. So
yeah. You know, there's more Puerto Ricans here than on the island. So we're doing well with the food supply.
I don't blame them, man. The you know, our country over there is messed up. A little island, you know. Hopefully things will get better soon.
Yeah. One of the most beautiful places on earth, but one of the most disappointing. Same with Haiti, man. I spent 3 years in Haiti. Same situation. You know, it seems to me that the most beautiful places on earth are always the most troubled, and I don't know why we can't figure that out.
Yeah, it's like anything with beauty seems to be a lot of trouble.
Yeah, you're right, man.
Isn't that wild? And so let me ask, why are you bouncing around so many different places? Were you serving family? What?
Yeah, my dad was career military, and then so was I.
Oh, so, man, thank you for your service, kiddo. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I've been all around the world. Somalia, tour in Cuba, 3 tours in Haiti, deployed everywhere, man. And that's actually what gave me time to start collecting my thoughts about a lot of the screenplays and stories I've written. Was a lot of downtime. You know, a lot of people see action movies, military movies, and it looks like you're nonstop. But the reality is you do an 8-hour, 12-hour shift doing patrols, like in Mogadishu. Those are pretty action filled, but when you get back, man, it's just sitting there staring at the wall. You don't have a lot of You don't have an 86-inch screen to sit there and stare at. And at the time I was in, we didn't even have computers or iPhones. This was in the 90s, so so, you find your own way, man. And so luckily it worked out for me well, man, because I was able to put together a lot of really unique stories and build entire universes and alternative realities for some of my characters.
So before you even served, were you into, writing and pop culture and things like that, history?
Yeah, I was actually an actor as a kid. I did a lot, a couple shows, a couple films, and I loved the scene, man. My very first experience on set was a kind of a harsh reality into Hollywood. So I did a film with the director called Peter Hunt, a film called, a Mark Twain story. I think it was called, it was just a Huckleberry Finn, or one of the variations of that. And I did about 8 days of shooting. All my scenes were cut except some of the background stuff. So
damn.
I was sitting there in this theater in Kentucky, anticipating seeing myself. And I was like, oh man, I'm a celebrity. I'm a 12-year-old celebrity, right? Scene's gone, man. All my friends were there. I saw all them, but for some reason the scenes, which I got to work with Lillian Gish and Patrick Day and a bunch of really cool actors and stuff. So I got a really good introduction into feature films, and that's my true love is writing, directing, producing feature films. So that was my reality into it's not what it's cracked up to be, where you think you're, the reality of Hollywood. And this is why I didn't run away at teenage years to become is because I knew that the success rate was almost zero. And my objective was to create projects on my own terms, do them on my own terms. I shot my first feature last year, funded it myself. It's a real
nice
indie comedy, really successful though, man. We had 500,000 downloads, but that's my goal. Keep it as a hobby, and then that way, I think in the movie Desperado, the lead character says, when it's something similar to, when you want nothing, you're invincible. And that's the same way I look at it now. Is nobody can dictate my time, nobody can dictate my projects, and I need nothing from anybody. So what I do, it makes me invincible, because I don't have to rely on other people to create projects. So same with this project, man, completely self-funded. I have 24 novels already written, 2 of them already illustrated. Yeah, we're working on number 3 now.
Are you gonna keep these cats busy over there in Mexico?
Absolutely,
oh my gosh! Yeah. And that's another thing. How'd you learn the language? How'd you become so savvy? Because I asked them, I was like, okay, so you guys were presented with this project from an American that he came at you. Was like, how was that approach? They were surprised. You came with the Spanish, you try, and how do you guys even work together to do the project? This is amusing to me.
Well, I speak Spanish pretty well. So the language was not an issue for us.
Beautiful.
The way I learned Spanish was kind of being self-taught. Had a lot of friends, a lot of Puerto Rican friends, especially in the military. Again, during that downtime, I would sit down with friends that were Puerto Rican or even Mexican American, and we would just talk, man. And then ultimately, I went to a language course, which you don't really learn much there. It's really the interaction. And then my mastery of Spanish is good enough that I know regional dialects, regional things, like in
amazing.
Jugo de China. Jugo de China means nothing anywhere else in the world.
Exactly.
That's orange juice. And funny story, I went to the store first time when we first moved there. I was like, am I buying juice from China? What I'm totally confused by it. When you're ingrained, you kind of learn the nuances of the island. Yeah. So I can give you 50 words in Puerto Rico that make no sense anywhere else. You know what I mean?
So I'll give you a great one too, because being from Puerto Rico, bicho, what that means to us.
What's that?
You know what bicho means to us?
No.
Well, bicho is not like okay. Let me just say the story like this. I work with a Spaniard lady.
Yeah.
Now, this lady starts screaming and pointing at the wall, un bicho, un bicho. Now, I'm Puerto Rican. A bicho to me means penis.
Oh, that's funny.
So I'm like, what the hell are you saying, lady? I'm thinking this lady's trying to hit on me or some shit. What's wrong with her? She could be my grandmother.
Yeah.
And when I look up, I see a road. Just say, una cucaracha. No, un bicho. I'm like, wow, you Spaniards. You. That was the first time I had never heard.
Yeah. Another one is bicho. Montecado. Montecado is ice cream, but
mantecado. Sí.
Helado.
Helado. Yeah. We say mantecado. That's so awesome. You catch the little words, bro.
Chavo was another one for money.
El chavo.
Yeah.
I'm loving Dave. You are an adopted Puerto Rican. Check this out. I'm digging it.
Honorary, man.
Yeah, wepa. This is I'm digging it.
When I lived there, I said I'm not Boricua, but I'm Puerto Rican.
I always joke with people because I'm originally from New York, and they say, "Where you at now?" I said, "Oh, I'm in the 6th borough." Like, what do you mean in Orlando? There's a shit ton of Puerto Rican here too.
Yeah, it's a mainland PR.
So how did the whole creative process for you start, though? The day you decided to say, okay, I want to do a book and I need to find an artist. This is my visions. And how did you even go all about that? What was this whole journey like for you to even start this process?
Yeah, so the inspiration came from the mystery of the Aztecs, understanding I went on a journey. I was in Mexico, went on this weekend excursion, and had the opportunity to look at some explorers and archaeologists uncovering some of the Aztec settlements there. So what happened was there was also a guide with us, and she was in Spanish speaking, that this was a civilization of 7 million people that essentially disappeared overnight. And so the mystery is how did this civilization just disperse. And what happened is, obviously there were only 400 Spaniards there to oppose him, so the Spanish didn't do it. Now the Spanish had indoctrinated or encouraged surrounding tribes that had already been warring with the Aztecs to engage them in battle as well. But what we know now is most likely most of the people, as many of the 80% of them, died from smallpox and other diseases brought by the Europeans. But that still doesn't account for 7 million people. So in my mind, my creative mind, I'm thinking, so let's create an alternative reality to explain it. So what I did was I created a situation in when Huitzilopochtli, who was actually a manifestation of the people, as most gods are, he decided that the war was not the way, and he had a change of heart. So he uses the power of the sun to disintegrate the battlefield. The survivors that are there, he brings them into the underworld called Mictlan, a special section to survive for the next 500 years. And upon that 500 years, and this is why the first chapter is called Surgimiento or Emergence, is because the character you're looking at right there, Amashli, he emerges on the 500th anniversary, which was August 13th, 2021, because the empire fell on August 13th, 1521. So he emerges, and his objective is not just to be a badass superhero and kill a bunch of people. His objective is to create a peaceful, harmonious planet. And obviously, if violence needs to take place to achieve that goal, he's there for it. And he has four other superheroes. But another interesting twist is that in 1877, 4 days before his death, Crazy Horse prophesies a time in 7 generations. Now, 7 generations would take us exactly to the time at which Amashli emerged. So in 2021, Amashli is emerging on the 500th anniversary, but also fulfilling the prophecy of Crazy Horse, who was a Lakota warrior. And Crazy Horse prophesies that there will be a time in 7 generations, which brings us to 2011 to 2025, depends on how you think about it. But at that time, all the red tribes of the world would unite, and they would be a blessing for a sick world. And what they would do is unite to create a more harmonious planet, but also to be a source of guidance and knowledge for white people, even the people who had opposed them and done them harm in the past. That was all going to be forgiven. Now, what happens in chapter 2 is this is where this all comes together, and they engage the Navajo, help them, facilitate the story. Now, when Crazy Horse said that we will be a blessing for a sick world, my interpretation of that was literally a sick world. So here's a crazy coincidence. In 2009, I wrote into the story, and it's in both chapters. It starts off in chapter 1 that when they emerge in 2021, the world is suffering a Lassa virus pandemic.
Wow.
And so what they do is they approach what's happening is there's a Russian oligarch. His name is Adrian Volkov. He is selling vaccines to the highest bidder. And when other entities try to develop the vaccines, they have trouble with it. And what it turns out is that he is manipulating the virus to create these variants that make him, but nobody knows this, but the Aztec Warriors figure it out that he's the one behind the virus. So their first mission that they create is to go destroy his place. So their objective was to emerge onto the earth as kind of get their feet wet and feel things out and see what needs to happen. So within the first chapter, though, by the end of it, they're in a major battle with this guy in Siberia, destroying this facility, which is a Russian government facility. So obviously, you get the conflict of the media is against them, kind of like Spider-Man did, and the media is against them. Some of the public's against them. So you get this battle on social media about whether these are good guys or bad guys. And what happens in chapter 2 is they find a podcast host and they befriend him, and he's super famous. 24 million people, I think we referenced that are in his audience, and they befriend him, and he becomes their voice and their advocate in society. So that's where we are. I can't say any more about future things. I can tell you that one thing I can mention, even though we haven't introduced him, is everything that we're seeing, kind of like a Justice League or a Marvel. is dictated by a spirit world tribal council. And that's how we incorporate the American Indians into the story.
Beautiful.
Because they're not from the same time frame as the Aztecs. They come on. And also we have Hindu, the princess Rani Durgavati. She's Hindu. Shaka Zulu, who is a contemporary king of the Zulu nation. They come on board to assist the Aztecs in their missions as spirit guides. They're not capable of violence, but they can offer guidance and leadership and counsel. And that also appears in chapter 2 as well.
I really find it beautiful how you actually mix all these different tribes, if you will, on a global scale. It's a beautiful thing, kiddo. It's wonderful. Listen, thank you.
People think of indigenous people as American indigenous people, but the reality, there are indigenous people everywhere. I mean,
yes.
In 5 continents, we have people that have inhabited them for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, and they deserve recognition and representation as much as anybody else.
Of course. So, and talk about these designs, kiddo. I mean, look at how gorgeous this is right here on screen.
Yeah. So listen, the artist Diego, and that's all contributed. I contribute everything to them. I of course give them guidance, and it was really important for me to go out and find Mexican artists because they are already, just through direct exposure, they will have already seen these. Rather than trying to hire somebody to do a bunch of research, I really wanted Mexican artists. And the reality, it was really hard to find them. I mean, it took me 3 years of searching.
3 years. Wow.
I tried out several different people, and they weren't at the quality. But man, I feel really lucky to have those two. I mean, their work is displayed in they live in Guanajuato, and their work is displayed throughout museums and stuff. And they're sculptors and painters and really broad talented artists. And I'm so fortunate to have them on board this project, man.
And fellow geeks too. They're awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So another crazy thing, a lot of people say, how do you get so popular? How do you get so successful? Because of the quality of the artwork, we have fans that never even looked at a comic book in their whole life. They just love our art. So we have 70-year-old women who just love the art. We have 50-year-old men who love the indigenous theme. We have obviously the comic book, the superhero guys. It's probably 70%, but we're pulling from broad audiences all around the world because of the quality of art that they produce. So I owe them tremendously, and they are equity partners in the project. By the way, they participate.
Wow.
Yeah. That was important to me too. I run some businesses, and I always felt like people who have an equity stake in your project are always going to be more dedicated and more loyal, and that's what I did with them as well.
Definitely being a part of the stakes, not just creatively, but on that scale, it's like, you want it to succeed.
They're not employees for hire, man. They are the only salaried employees on the project, but they also participate on the back end.
Folks, you hear this? That's a boss right here. Kudos to you, kid. We are entrepreneur, loving it. Oh, who's this? What's this?
That's Huitzilopochtli, the god of war. He is the one who intervenes in the battlefield with the Spanish and decides that's enough, that he's going to put an end to it. So obviously gods are manifestations of humans, not the other way around. And so he even references, your negative legacy. And so, most people know the Aztecs from human sacrifice and their violent nature. And he says, because of that legacy, you must atone for the next 500 years. That's why he put them in the underworld, to become better people, and subsequent generations would become better and more compassionate. And what he did was he basically said, you manifested me to justify your violent behavior. I'm going away, and this is your legacy now. Fail or succeed, this is on you. And so, and that's the last time we see him, was in the first few pages when he gives them that directive, and then he's gone. So they no longer have a deity-based society.
Wow, that's deep too. Jeez.
Yeah, it is, man. It's complex stuff. I could literally spend 5 days just explaining all the complexities of the Tribal World Council and how they work and what their criteria are for indigenous and all that stuff.
Now I know where to go in case something happens in the States. What town are you in again? So we could do our own war council and make sure we keep our borders safe.
Florida, man.
And who it is? This looks gorgeous. Wow.
Okay, so in addition to the 5 warriors, we have Nanette. Nanette is an intellectual. She's one of the leaders of the intellectuals. So this is I guess where story gets really more complex is, for that first 500 years, 8 intellectuals who were also designated as immortals. So there are 13 immortals, 13 is a sacred number to the Aztecs. So they have 5 warriors, 3 are females, 2 are men, and one of them is actually Incan. He's a Quechua warrior. So they also have eight intellectuals. Now, those intellectuals, their job is to go out into society, integrate anonymously, and they will come back with that knowledge and teach the Aztecs in the underworld all of these, astronomy, mathematics, even computers. So even though they're living much as they did in the 16th century, they have the knowledge to be a superior. So again, this goes to the narrative of when you emerge in 2021, you're going to be the leaders of the world. People will come to you for knowledge. You have to have that knowledge. So they actually end up creating the vaccine to the virus in the underworld. So they have modern facilities, and she's one of the intellectuals tasked with going out into the world and bringing back knowledge, languages. They're teaching Russian and Spanish and French and Brazilian and English to these people. So it also facilitates the reality that our characters, it's got to be plausible that they emerge speaking English, and that's how we facilitate that, because they would have spoken Nahuatl prior.
This is ooh.
Yeah, that's Tlashinali. She is actually a warrior, and so we have 3 warriors. It's actually a female-centric series, and our objective in the future is that each, much like Marvel, DC, and the other major franchises, each of our characters have a strong backstory and the ability to carry entire stories by themselves. So that's the objective ultimately. And I'm actually looking for female writers to help me bring characters to life, because you fall into the trap of writing what you know and what you're comfortable with. And although I try, I think it would be important to have a female voice to help me bring these characters. Now, chapter 3 is called Girl Power, and it's because of that, because we're bringing the female characters to the forefront. So Tlashinali, there, she's an Aztec warrior. And another interesting thing about the Aztecs is women could be warriors. It was a very progressive society. Women could be business owners. Women could be bosses. Women, if they wanted, could be housewives. So Tenochtitlan existed. That's the capital of the empire. Existed simultaneously with London. It was larger and much more progressive than London at the time.
Crazy.
Yeah. So people have this legacy of, and this is one of the things we wanted to bring to light in the story, is not just, these aren't brutal savages. This is a very, very progressive, advanced civilization that had really, their agriculture was superior to any on earth. They built aqueducts. They built their capital city on a lake, in the middle of a lake. And people have trouble doing that. And they built this massive empire in the middle of a lake. And that's, again, a prophecy from Huitzilopochtli in their origin story, which is covered as well in the prequel, in a prologue to our first novel.
I really wish we could find all those secrets of building techniques from back then, because those were the true masters.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and it seems impossible today. You do that by hand.
Isn't it? I've heard stories. Some guy, I think it was here in Florida, that had some place that he was moving huge stones.
Yeah.
Something about a black box. He was doing it by himself, and people don't understand how he did it.
You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, but yeah, so I'm not sure I believe that. That's really tough. This one guy, and he was an older guy too. It wasn't like he's Hercules. So yeah, you never know. But that's, I know who you're talking about.
It's like ancient techniques. That word, please, we make a killing in construction out of it. Let's get it done.
It is super impressive when you see what he did, even with modern techniques. It was impressive. Some of the way his doors are opening and stuff. Okay, that's Tupac. He's a Quechua warrior. He was captured in battle. And raised as an Aztec since childhood. He was a slave until they saw his ability to fight and his loyalty to the Tenochca, to the Aztecs. And what he did was he was adopted, swore his allegiance to the Aztec Empire, and then he got to be designated as a warrior, as an eagle warrior.
Yeah, he looks dope, man. Love it.
Oh, I got
the design.
Let's see, we're looking at it.
Yeah, design is gorgeous.
Yeah, of course. That's chapter 2 cover. Yep.
Woo.
For the incorporation, you see all of our warriors plus Rani Durgavati, the Indian there with the sword. You see Shaka Zulu with the cattle shield. Yeah, so they're all there. And you see Danawoa. He is a Cherokee in the top middle, and then to his left, our right is Ahiga. And Ahiga is a younger warrior, died in battle. and he comes back as a spirit guide as well. And his name means to fight. Danawoa means warrior in Cherokee, and Ahiga is a Navajo name.
This cover is so dope. And you talking that you are 24 chapters ahead, dude.
Yeah, 24 total novels. Yeah, not chapters.
Wow, novels. I mean, whoa.
Yeah. Over 600 pages.
Wow. And so was that part of that 3-year journey?
Yeah, well, you know what? Ironically, I started writing this as a screenplay. And then once I got hundreds of pages, and I'm like, this is never going to work. This has to be episodic. And I had never done a graphic novel, but I thought the visuals are so incredible. Why would we not create something that people could also see? So I had to go learn the graphic novel format first because obviously you got to know what you're doing. You can't just write a short story and try to stick it in cells. So Diego and Carla are instrumental in that too, because they knew the format and they had done it before. So it's really a collaborative effort.
Nice.
I have the ideas, but at the end of the day, it's a project created by Diego and Carla.
It's a team effort. This is wonderful. Yeah. I love to see that, and an international effort at that.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, we've had various people contributing from Pakistan, India, some of the artwork. Yeah, and my wife's an artist too, and she's actually of Cherokee descent. So she is. She just did a print. Man, I wish I had it in here. I'm going today to get it scanned, and we're going to sell copies of her art on the website. Just to fans. It's an Aztec-inspired Indian princess.
Wonderful. And are you guys going to be doing any shows this year? For the remainder of the year, you guys are going to be any place where people could get hands-on, talk to you, and get the book?
So we're doing a red carpet event, so what we're doing is looking for more artists, not to replace Diego and Carla. They're going to keep doing what they're doing, but people to create T-shirts, memorabilia, merchandise, promotional assets, stuff like that, web stuff.
So you're hiring. So where can people contact you?
We're gonna post something probably tomorrow about that. So we're holding a contest. Right now we're looking for Los Angeles-based people. We could have some remote, but the reason we're looking for Los Angeles because we're going to have an office there where we'll get together once or twice a month for a collaborative creative effort. And so we'll post that on the Facebook page in the next day or two. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a red carpet event in November, and we'll invite the finalists in that art contest to come in and receive their prizes and have their artwork displayed. We'll have our art and with theirs combined throughout the venue. That's going to be in Los Angeles, and then we're also the next day. I know you got a broad audience, but if people are in Los Angeles, we're having a book signing in LA, which is also on our events page. So yeah, that's it.
What shop?
Emerald Knights Comics and Games in
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're shaking and moving.
Yeah, the problem is COVID has really limited us, but now we're getting to where we can do things. We have book signing offers from everywhere, a lot of Texas, California, all over the country. So we're going to start doing more of those. The problem has just been travel and, getting people here from Mexico because I want them to meet the whole team, but so it's slowly reopening, and we're getting to where we're going to give it a shot in November and see how it goes. And if attendance is good, then we're gonna continue.
Yeah, because I believe they're doing a small San Diego show also in November. Yeah. Probably a good thing if you could time it around then and have already that comic, focus.
Yeah. LA has their own comic. Unfortunately, that's been scheduled like 4 times. I think that's in October, so I missed that. But yes, ultimately that's another idea is to get involved with those Comic Cons around the country as well. But man, we're so happy with the way things are going. I mean, we're doing fulfillment here in this office here where I am now. This is one of my offices in my house. We got stacks of books behind me. We're shipping them out like every day. I mean, we're the success has been incredible, man. I mean, it's just blown us away.
I'm happy.
I expected. I mean, I and another thing that surprised me because I wasn't, I know nothing about graphic novels until a few years ago, is how adamant fans are about having a paperback copy in their hands. I thought 99% would sell digital. Totally the opposite. So I got overwhelmed, man. We're using 4 different printers right now to keep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So all the first prints are gone then, first editions.
Okay, so we did, that's another advantage to the people in LA that can come to those events. They're going to get the first edition US printed copies. Those will all be gone at that event. And then now we're having to bring from China and Korea and different printing sources because in the US pricing's crazy, but we can't keep up. I mean, so these people can do massive volumes over there. And so obviously the more successful the project gets, the more valuable those items are going to, and everything sitting behind me is probably 200, maybe 400. Well, there's English and Spanish too. Those are all U.S. printed first edition. So those will be hopefully, very valuable. Our objective is to do this so we're releasing one novel every 3 months. So we'll
wonderful.
do a 4-novel compilation every year. And so we have 6 years of novels already written and created. So we just need to illustrate them. So hopefully, down the road we get, maybe we're, big enough that people really see the value in our early stage development and see the value in these copies. So they're kind of precious commodities. And I think they sold out once already at the comic store where they are. And we're going to ship them some more here soon.
Fantastic. I feel like I'm talking to RZA from Wu-Tang here. You have this 6-year plan. It's laid out, folks. It's laid out. Let's make it happen. And if you had a choice, would you like to see this turn into a live action feature or animated feature?
I think live action or a combination live action. And a lot of, we've actually been approached about that.
Oh, word, cool.
I think the visuals are so incredible, and the opportunity here, because this is really a modern story. It's not a period piece, but our opening is Tenochtitlan, but then we go back to Mictlan, which the universe that we've created in Mictlan and the underworld is beautiful. So the healing waters there, which is the fountain of youth, are there, and that's how our characters maintain their immortality. So the visuals that can be created, and did you see the new Jungle Book?
Yeah.
So the combination of that live action and that type of animation, I would be okay with, but a true, just a true 2D animation would not do justice to the visuals that we can do here. We have good stories too, but at the end of the day, I think, like Black Panther. I mean, wow, the Wakanda overviews and the sweeping views and the panning shots in that environment were just incredible. And I think we can create something similar to that. I honestly think it would be more successful though. I know that's a pretty statement, but I mean, if you think about the audience we have, we have a core audience of about 600 million Latino people that are thirsty and hungry for this type of
content,
development of a project. But then also, with the comic book fans, I think it's it's from a marketing perspective, it's if it's done well, of course, and that's the problem we had with some other offers. Is we've got offers for video game development, but people that I'd never heard of, and then overseas people that wanted to produce a film or a series. The problem is, again, I'm not sure they understand. I'm a white guy in Florida, but I'm still very protective of my characters and the integrity of. I'm not going to have some guy, because he's an A-lister, play an Aztec warrior. This is not happening. I would never.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah. So the funny thing is, people ask, well, do you feel okay as a non-Latino guy building this project? And the answer is absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Because if white guys are only limited to creating white characters, we're only creating opportunities for other white guys. If people who have a voice and have a creative mind will start diversifying their characters, now we're creating opportunities for other people and other demographics. Yes. And another great example is Black Panther. That was created by a middle-aged white guy. But look at the tens of thousands of people that had the opportunity now to work on such an amazing project. So should we stifle Stan Lee when he comes up with an idea that doesn't look like a white heterosexual male? So I think it's quite the opposite. I think we have obligations as creators to broaden our perspectives. And a lot of people say, write what you know. That's boring to me. Who wants to write what you know? That's lazy. To me, I want to go out and learn something, then I'll write about it. So I write what I don't know.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that you even take the time as someone outside of our culture to learn about our culture. It's a beautiful thing.
Every Mexican I've talked about this say, and same with Puerto Ricans, they like, oh, you know more about Tainos than I do. You know more about Aztecs than I do. And absolutely, man, you gotta know it to write it. You got to know it back to front, man. I mean, I've learned so much of the language, of the culture, of the history, of the dynamics between the different tribes. I know I can name, there's 60 indigenous tribes. I can name probably all of them if I could sit down and write it. So yeah, I know more than a lot. And I get a lot of wrong comments, like on Facebook, we'll see comments and I see how little people really know. And they have these stereotypes or misunderstandings about who the Aztecs were, or Taino, or Sulu or Hindu. I mean, they don't, so I pride myself in that I would never put something out that was guessing or taking liberties as well. Now, this is obviously fiction, right? But it is deeply rooted in historical facts. So although we're creating a fictional modern series, at the end of the day, the roots of it and the history we're bringing into it will all be accurate.
Yeah, but you heard that, folks. It's gonna be fuego. I can't wait. It's for you guys to actually see the project. Aztec Warrior God.com. Follow the Facebook as well, Aztec Warrior God. I mean, is that the only place that we could get the book right now?
Okay, so you can get so the digital versions are on every platform: Amazon, Apple Books, Kobo,
Wonderful.
all those. You can either order the physical copy of the first chapter on our website, or there's a link in our Facebook post of a third party, which is actually the e-commerce site for the Burbank-based comic, and they have better pricing. We have a good deal with them, so maybe that's a better option for most people. But unfortunately, we can only ship in the U.S. and Canada. We're still looking for distributors, which is crazy to me. Wow. I know we'd sell 100,000 books in Mexico, no doubt, just based on the people that have emailed me personally. But we're having trouble with distribution. People,
that's crazy.
It is. It's unbelievable, but that's okay.
That's a tough business, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So we couldn't get a publisher, so now we are a publisher. We couldn't get a distributor, so now we're becoming distributors.
There you go. There you go.
Fire, man.
Yeah, but for international, you still need that middleman. Damn.
Yep. Modern technology, man.
Have you tried Penguin Random House? They're in the distribution business, and they're international.
Specifically, who we've reached out to, but I can tell you we've reached out to a lot of people.
Excellent. Well, good luck, folks. You hear this? Come on, publishers. This is a great stuff, and it's true. This would be bomb not just in Mexico, but I think all of Central, South America, Caribe.
Yeah, we're a 7-figure seller, man. I mean, I don't know of another title that's doing that. I think we're exceeding the major franchises. So it is crazy to me. But again, I've been in business a long time, and I see people that pass opportunities by because there's not a specific name or specific brand attached to something.
Sad way to think as an entrepreneur, right?
Just until they can't, right?
Yeah, for me, that's just a sad way to think. Even for example, like I'm watching the Wu-Tang show, and they're calling people. Oh, like shut up. Who are you? It's like, listen, people, listen. You never know. Just don't be standoffish and listen.
The way I look at it is, if you look at our social media alone, I mean, we have 4 million people that are in our database that want to be notified when new titles come out. So to me, if they can't absorb those numbers and make sense of them, then it's okay. We're very happy doing what we're doing. We're not complaining, but
you ain't begging. But I mean, hey guys, if you want part of this success, I mean, to even expand it further, I mean, here's the wonderful, and like The Onion. I love what recently they did, rated O for original.
Yeah. So it would be nice to have third parties for stuff, as long as they're the right people.
There you go.
Keep in mind, we only launched this thing 6 weeks ago. So my first one was in August. So we're very early, and I get it if people want to say, hey, we're going to wait some time. That's okay. But we're very happy the way things are moving. Everybody that wants a book in North America is getting it. Everybody global that's looking for digital copies getting it. So nobody's suffering. But at the same time, I think we could really, really blow it out of the water and replicate like a Harry Potter type franchise if we had the right partners in place.
Agreed, man. Especially with this type of content and story, and on a wonderful day like this, let's make it happen, people. Show the love to David. Now, what if they wanted to get in touch with you? I mean, like you said, for the competition and all, or if someone is from a distributor and wants to contact you, is the website the best place?
The Facebook's the best website or Facebook. Facebook, we have constant moderators on there, so they forward everything to me that's directed to me. And delete the
naughties,
the garbage that we get. I'm a sultan and I'm gonna give you $1 billion. We get all kinds of crazy stuff, man.
Oh, me too. I'm a Nigerian princess dying to send me $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm grateful to even be on their radar, man. All the scammers, but that's okay. or the charlatans. There's some of them out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. But this is not a charlatan stuff. This is like amazing stuff. This is the best stuff. This is comic books at its best, with mythology, some reality, awesome characters, diversity. It's the USA, it's Mexico right here teaming up, kicking ass on an amazing title and book that I think everyone should definitely pick up. All right. So one last time, check out the website, AztecWarriorGod.com. And on Facebook, please, Aztec Warrior God. Remember, he got a competition going on. He's looking for publishers too, for international. If you have those type of opportunities, you know what to do. Hit him up. All right, Dave. Any last words?
No, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate the time, man.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on, Dave. And with that, folks, the outro tells you what to do. Hasta la próxima. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.